bitten by a hamstring. Well, Loesch has been a balk.
They called it a balk, and he's going to ask. He's like, no way.
Can't argue a balk, Clayton.
No.
You cannot argue a balk, but he's going to say he broke the plane.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I didn't think he did.
Either does Clayton.
Don't get thrown out.
He might get thrown out.
Don't get thrown out.
That's not a balk. He stepped towards first base.
I've seen an awful lot worse not get called. And
well, Mattingly's doing all the talking for Kershaw.
He's doing a great job being the distraction now.
Well, now Donnie's going to get his money's worth.
It's almost like Paul said, you can't argue a balk. Two of you had, so one of you's got to go.
Now Mattingly's going to talk to Jerry Meals, the crew chief, home plate umpire, on his way back. Might as well get his money's worth.
I was going to say, are they going to toss you twice?
Well, Mattingly figures if somebody's going to get thrown out, better be me than Kershaw.
Yeah, that's an excellent job by Donnie, just getting in the way and getting out there quick enough to protect Clayton.
Our audio's pretty good, picking up everything. Here's the 0-2. That's strike 3.
Yeah, Walt just got tossed.
Yep,
sure did.
Third inning. And knowing Walt the way we do, this is emblematic of just how frustrated he is with the last week.
He didn't even have to work the first game. What's he so mad about?
Goes back a little bit before that. It's the first ejection for Walt this year.
But Cole can.
He did it there.
The swing and a miss, no controversy there. But when you throw your equipment, you are subject to ejection. And that's what Conroy did. And he didn't realize it. Joey says, all right, everything's cool. Don't worry about it. I'm on me. I'm on me. Now, Votto realizes he's been ejected, and here he comes. And the question is, does he bump the umpire? Oh, no. That's not good.
Ryan Price, try as he might, could not keep Votto away.
Career .331 hitter.
What, 20 All-Star teams, I believe?
He was only not an All-Star when he was 20, 21, and then 1945 when he didn't play because of military service. Every other year of his career. Ooh,
wow.
Somebody got tossed. I think Joe's had it. He didn't like the Soler call, and there have been some other calls I think he's been aggravated about. So he and DJ Rayburn going at it.
Well, Chris Bryant was rung up his first time up on a borderline pitch. We had it, right on the corner at the bottom of the knees. So whatever was rung up on that one that we showed again, it was clearly off the plate outside.
You could read his lips. He said that was a foot outside. There was another four-letter word in there that I will not repeat.
Between innings, there was some conversation between Todd Steverson. He didn't like this call, thought it was up. And then he voiced his displeasure to John Hirschbeck. You say, are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? And apparently, yes, he was.
Go on, he says. Go on.
And he went around. He is out on strikes on that curveball down and in. Went back in there and got it.
Well, right now you're seeing what we've been talking about with the pitcher-catcher relationship between Corporon and Rodriguez, the way that they're working together right now, each and every pitch. And I'll tell you,
the Rays and Mike Esterbrook having a difference of opinion. And Esterbrook telling Kevin Cash not to come any closer. Now Cash has been ejected. I think he got Derek Shelton to begin with, and now he got Cash when Cash turned his back. And now Cash is going to come back and get his money's worth. And Cash is right about this. They've seen some of the locations of those breaking pitches.
well, the location of the breaking pitch and the fact that Joey Butler did not go. He did not go. That was a hook that looked like he held up on, and Esterbrook was so demonstrative in calling Butler out. And yes.
Bryce went. He's in the face of Rob Drake, and he's been tossed. Matt Williams quickly out of the dugout, and Bryce Harper ejected, and now Matt will get after Rob Drake.
Well, he just asking for some help. Gabe Morales stand down at third base. It's all he wants Rob Drake to do is appeal. Just check, that's it. If he rings you up, he rings you up. That's all he's asking. How can you see the pitch in his hands go? I've said that so many times to open umpires. How can you see the pitch and my hands all at the same time? I don't get it.
Matt Williams has been tossed. Well, the Nats have lost Bryce Harper in a tie game here with at least 2 innings at the plate to go. And Matt Williams hanging around to get his words in. Very close. Hyundai's 7th inning stretch here at Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona. It's up to
a lot quicker than I thought it would be.
Oh, and Kipnis drilled in the middle of the back. And here comes Mike Everett. He's issuing a warning to both sides. And Terry Francona is going to come out anyway.
No,
Mike
he
Everett
wants to go
says
see his player.
He's been thrown out of the ball game. Terry Francona ejected by Mike Everett. And Terry Francona coming out right now, giving it to Mike Everett. I think Terry Francona is basically telling Mike Everett, if you thought it was intentional, why didn't you throw him out of the game?
Yeah, he's right.
He is really giving it to him now. And now he's giving it to Tim Welke, the crew chief.
Well, what did you say back in the first inning when Halladay went down? That someone's going to go, it'll happen.
The Cardinal way historically has been you hit one of our guys,
well, there's
we're
two
going to hit
out,
one
there's
of yours.
nobody on, and Lackey did what he had to do. It was right in the back of the numbers. But that's exactly what Terry was saying.
If you felt it was intentional, then he should have been thrown out of the game.
Right at the number 2. Right at the number 2. You can't get out of that. Now, and that's what he's saying. If you felt that was intentional, then you throw out Lackey. Don't throw me out.
What they called for.
Blackman getting into it with Foster, and he just got thrown out. Blackman so upset at the previous pitch. He just got run by Marty Foster, and that really puts the Rockies in a bind because Dickerson's foot, they only have 4 outfielders, and Dickerson's foot
probably put
not well.
a no out in left field and DJ at second.
That'll be probably the way Walt will go. We'll find out when we come back.
Many of these youngsters, it's their very first time in Montana. Attention Dodgers baseball presented by Nike.
So some good sliders. The last 2 or 3 he's thrown. They try to hold up.
This ball lifted to left field. And coming in and making the catch is Ben Revere. That'll end the inning. Nick Hundley was thrown out of the game. He was really incensed at Hunter Wendelstedt for calling this check swing a strike. He thought he held up. And then a couple pitches later, see, he's upset there. That's not where he gets tossed out, because 2 pitches later, he hits the fly ball to left, and he's upset. And he got after Hunter Wendelstedt, and he said, really, you threw me out?
And then instead of Hunter walking away, he gets right back in his face. Now he's pointing his finger at Walt. Sorry, that just gets me. I don't care who it is, just walk away. That's, I mean, how many times an NFL official just on the sidelines, the coaches are just yelling at him? What do? They walk away.
Now the 0-2. Got him, strike 3. Kinsler caught looking at Gibson, and he's about to get thrown out if he doesn't walk away. Guess who's still in the game? Apparently it was Brad Ausmus that was thrown out for saying something to trip Gibson.
That was a quick hook because it looked like Brad was on his way back to the dugout too and got tossed.
That was the quickest hook ever.
Brad never even made it out.
No, we assumed it was Kinsler. It was not. Kinsler, of course, upset about being called out on strikes, but he's still in the game. So it was Brad Ausmus that was ejected.
I believe that Joe Girardi was thrown out of the game because he was getting heated with Jim Joyce, and I'm sure he was complaining about some of those close calls. And this is in between innings. So somewhat animated. Yeah, he threw him out. He's still there, and he's given the lineup card to Robbie Thompson. He's still standing there. Maybe he wasn't done.
You know, Bryce was running hard out of the box there. He wasn't sure he got it. Going down to get it like that, and that thing just had another gear.
Let's see if this is down. I thought it was. Yeah.
Shift is on. And Marvin Hudson hearing about it from the Nats dugout.
Matt Williams is telling it's down.
You know, they can see high-low from over there. And out is Matt Williams. Or was it Harper?
Well, if it's Bryce Harper, that's not good.
Bryce Harper, it appears, has been tossed.
It's something about getting in the box. This is about getting in the batter's box. He told Bryce to get in the batter's box, and he didn't, and he threw him out. He said, you can't throw him out for that. And look, read Matt Williams' lips. He's talking about the batter's box. Bryce Harper just got thrown out because he didn't get in the batter's box. I'd blow a gasket, too, if I was Matt Williams.
This is taking the whole speeded up thing a little too far.
If Marvin Hudson threw Bryce Harper out of the game for not getting the batter's box, that's just ridiculous. All these fans came here to watch Bryce Harper play, and you're going to throw him out because he's not in the box? I can understand if he said something to you.
Matt Williams getting his money's worth here.
So the pitch was low. It was strike one. There's some chirping from the dugout, which happens all the time with home plate umpires. And see there, Matt Williams is chirping, saying the ball is down. Bryce Harper walks out of the batter's box.
And Bryce had gone into the box when first told to go there.
He said he was standing right there. Now he gets thrown out of the game. He was showing him where he was standing until Marvin Hudson left to go talk to Matt Williams. So basically, Bryce Harper was baited right there. And whether it's Bryce Harper, whether it's Mark Teixeira, Carlos Beltran, Brett Gardner, that's just, I can't believe it.
You know, the left-handed bats in this Atlanta Braves lineup.
Not sure what this is all about. Freddie Gonzalez to the home plate umpire, Chris Siegel, and now he's going to bring in the crew chief, Jim Joyce. This is a curious development here.
The home plate umpire is asking Jim Joyce something.
And Jim Joyce is directing his attention to Will Smith. Checking his glove, and he's been thrown out. Will Smith has been ejected. A foreign substance on the glove. Wow.
Well, when it's a little bit cool, windy like it is tonight, I mean, pitchers will sometimes get some pine tar and use it. It is illegal, but, you know, it happens all the time. And Freddie Gonzalez goes out there and asks the umpires to check it out, and it didn't take Jim Joyce long to throw him out.
And you remember the World Series, the '06 World Series with Detroit and St. Louis, and Kenny Rogers with a foreign substance on his hat. And then, of course, maybe the most notable recently was Michael Pineda of the Yankees a couple of years ago, had it on his neck. Yeah, right there on his arm. I thought it was on his glove, but you're right. Jim Joyce went right to the wrist, felt the foreign substance, and that's an automatic ejection.
Welcome back to Progressive Field in Cleveland, Ohio. As you can see, Brian Price is just leaving the field talking to Jimmy Reynolds, the second base umpire for today's ball game. When the two teams came out, Brad Mills came out to deliver the Indians lineup, and Brian Price came out to deliver the Reds lineup. And as usual, you shake hands with the umpires. Mills did shake hands with all four of the umpires. Brian didn't, and all of a sudden he started to talk to Jimmy Reynolds. And this, of course, a holdover from last night where the Reds were miffed a little bit at Manny Gonzalez calls behind home plate. And this continued, Chris, for a good 4 or 5 minutes, back and forth, until finally Brian Price was ejected from the game prior to the game ever starting.
You know, I'm not really sure the point that he was trying to make, or what maybe the point that he thought that he would make. But eventually they got to get the game going. Jimmy Reynolds looked like he said, all right, enough of this discussion. Let's get on to play baseball. Brian continued to try to press his point, and he's going to have to watch his ball game from the manager's office.
Yeah, and there's Manny Gonzalez, who was last night's home plate umpire. It was Reynolds who stepped right out, not Gonzalez, and confronted Price as they were going back and forth, and they engaged in a heated conversation. And about 4 minutes into that conversation, not Manny Gonzalez, but Jimmy Reynolds ejected Brian Price. So Price will be ejected from the ball game today, and Jay Bell will take over on the bench for the Reds. You saw Brian heading to the clubhouse for the Reds. And Chris, you know, we talked to the Reds players before the game and after the game last night. They felt that the strike calls, the ball strike calls from Gonzalez behind home plate were not consistent. Not that they were different from inning to inning, and that was what started it last night, and it continued through today.
Well, they were inconsistent. There's no question about it. You can look at the game tape last night. I don't think he had one of his better games, Gonzalez, that is. But at the same time, when you lost 6 in a row, you're looking for blame everywhere you look. And sometimes it's better to look in the mirror.
And it wasn't Manny Gonzalez, but it was Jimmy Reynolds who ejected Price. So here we go. Second.
That is the Real Muto with a 1-1 pitch. Chopped to third. Machado throws him out. Christian Yelich comes up. Talking with Dan Jennings about him prior to the game today. He said, look, this is the first adversity this kid has ever faced as a player. Skyrocketed through the minors after dominating as a high school player, early draft pick. Had a good season last year as a rookie. But hitting just 178 coming into this one. Dan Jennings out there asking Jordan Baker to go down and talk with the crew chief Paul Emmel about something. Oh boy. Is he calling out a substance on Brian Mattis's arm? Like we saw Will Smith thrown out for a couple of days ago in Milwaukee. Like we saw Michael Pineda suspended for last year in New York. Buck Showalter comes to see.
Well, it's interesting because I saw Dan Jennings go talk to the hitting coach for the Marlins, Frankie Menachino. They had obviously seen something out on the mound. I think the discussion was more or less, should we say something? Is that some sort of substance? And obviously, with the quick 2 outs, Dan Jennings took it upon himself to bring it to the attention of the umpire.
It's going to be an awkward conversation. He's been thrown out of the game. Brian Mattis becomes the second big league pitcher this week to get thrown out of a game for a foreign substance on his arm. Mattis thrown out in a scoreless game in the 12th.
And another strikeout.
He's been calling that all night.
7 strikeouts for Bolsinger.
Oh, we got some chirping going on here with somebody.
Well, Justin Upton is still angry about the strikeout call against him. And Bud Black coming out. And that's an automatic ejection if you're arguing balls and strikes. And I can't think of anything else that Bud Black is debating about. Yeah, you read his lips, balls and strikes. Well, Upton got to corral him. He's asking for trouble.
So he's got to leave. He's got to leave the dugout.
Marcotte escorting him back into the clubhouse. So Upton tossed.
Have won the only game this year, 8-2. Machado and a check swing, one around. Uh-oh, he's gone. Oh, you can't do that, Manny. You just can't do that. Understandably upset, but now the Orioles have lost their third baseman here for the rest of this ball game, slamming a bat down on the called third strike. Side is struck out, 2 by Sale, 1 by Duke. We've completed 8 here at Camden Yards, and the White Sox maintaining the lead. Here's what home plate umpire Toby Basner saw in calling the check swing strike himself, and once you do that, it's all but automatic that you sit.
Gonzalez at second, Turner at first. Ethier takes call strike 3, and he is furious.
There's 2 things that make you furious as a hitter, especially as Ethier watched this ball all the way in to the catcher. Was 1, how low it was, but 2, because it wasn't in the spot, watch the auditor have to reach for that. So those are the things you see. You see as a hitter, you see the catcher kind of reach for that rather than standing there and just hitting the spot. So you're going, that's a ball, and you're truly upset at that, even though Pitch Tracks had it at the bottom of the zone.
Ethier thrown out of the game. And now Mattingly's going to get his money's worth. Mike Winters, the crew chief in his 27th season.
You remember when the guys are watching from the bench, not only under Ethier, but the guys on the bench, the appearance of the strike was not there because of that reach. And they don't see. I think if it's Ethier that got tossed, it's an accumulation of Mike Winters being chirped at an awful lot. From A.J. Ellis at the beginning of the game to a little bit from the bench throughout the game.
I don't know if Ethier was tossed or if Don Mattingly was tossed, because Don Mattingly might have come out and said, I'm going to get my money's worth then if you're tossing me. Let's see.
Well, Ethier remains in the dugout.
Yeah, Donnie got tossed.
It was Mattingly who was, I can't say asked to leave.
Well, it was good Donnie got in between it.
Yeah.
And, you know, he was barking at a very high level to keep Andre in there. So that.
Well, you know, I mean, this is a big moment in this game. We recognize it. We talk about it. Here's a big inning. You finally have a chance to get to Lackey, who's been pitching very well against you. You recognize what you guys have been doing the last 14 games with runners in scoring position. Ethier feels that. So, Don, that's where the frustration, not only on the call, but all of that's building up on you as a competitor. And he jumps out there to try to protect his team. I mean, his player.
Guerrero gets underneath it. And Carpenter's got plenty of room.
Still barking out, and Titchener takes his mask off, and it's going to be John Farrell, I think, who got tossed. Bill said something back to Titchener, and then he chased him. I'm not sure if it was Napoli or Farrell. I think it was Farrell who got tossed.
Well, we saw Napoli yelling and screaming.
Oh, it was Napoli, and now Farrell's been tossed.
Yeah. Now here's the strikeout, and if you believe the Amica pitch zone, it's a strike. Now it looks down on the way to Napoli. He's not happy about it. Pedroia wasn't happy earlier. There he's yelling out something. We know what it is. We can't say it on TV. That got the attention of the umpire, and then Napoli gets thrown out from the dugout, and then you knew Farrell was going to go.
And a 1-2. He'll take it. I mean, he was arguing the call almost before Andy Fletcher made it. Now, Yunel Escobar needs to be mindful that the Nats are shorthanded here, and he gets himself tossed.
Oh, man.
That's just not smart.
Oh, man.
When you've got guys hurt, you got to stay in the game.
Yeah, and, you know, I don't get it. I mean, you're supposed to be able to at least state your feelings and have your say. You know, they always talk about not arguing balls and strikes. That's generally from the dugout. But I don't know. I don't know why they just got to be so quick on throwing people out of the ball game. I don't even know that he swung there. I don't. Looking at that, didn't even look like he started it. That's it. He said, that's it.
Go. He said, go twice.
He said, that's it. Go, go. But that's not long enough. You got to be able to sit there and say something.